Hi guys, how are you doing? This has been techcentury, and without a doubt the LG G2 is one of the best phones of 2013, and this actually is also my daily driver. So what can we expect to see in the new flagship for 2014, the LG G3? So today we'll talk about the release date, the new display, the new camera, as well as the new processor. So let's get started after the intro. So before we start, I actually did a similar video about the Samsung Galaxy S5, so if you want to watch this video, I'll just leave an annotation right here if you've turned them on, or also a link in the description down below if you're on mobile. So let's actually get started talking about the LG G3, and of course first let's talk about the display. Now the LG G2 has a 1080p 5.2-inch display with some of the smallest bezels that you can find on any device out there at the moment. So the rumors suggest that we'll see a 5.5-inch WQHD display, and that basically means we get a 2560 x 1440 resolution, which is absolutely insane. This is actually also the same resolution that Apple uses on their 27-inch iMac, so having this on a phone is pretty insane. Also the same resolution that we'll likely see in the Samsung Galaxy S5, only that the LG G2 will actually offer a 5.5-inch display instead of a 5.2-inch display that we are likely to see on the S5. Also, this is of course because of the on-screen buttons that we'll find on LG smartphones, and also we can probably expect to have an even smaller bezel than on the LG G2, which is absolutely insane. So next up, let's actually talk about the LG G3's processor. And in the G2 we'll find a Snapdragon 800 processor from Qualcomm. It's a quad-core processor and one of the fastest chips that's currently available. Now it seems like LG will actually move away from buying the processors from Qualcomm and actually develop their own chip, and it's called the LG Odin. Now the Odin isn't just a quad-core processor, it's an octa-core chip, so it's an 8-core processor, and we've actually already seen some of the benchmark results, and in these benchmarks the Odin actually beat out not only the Snapdragon 800 processor of the G2, but also the octa-core chip that's found in some of the Samsung Galaxy S4 variants. So definitely seems like a powerful chip, but you also have to add that it actually lost to processors like the Tegra 4 chip from NVIDIA. Now, the processor was actually clocked at 1 GHz in this benchmark, so it's likely that, for example, LG will just change the clock rate to, for example, 1.2 or 1.3 GHz, and then it's very likely that the Odin will even beat out the Tegra 4. But either way, it seems like we'll get a beast of a processor in the G3. And now let's actually talk about the camera, and the camera is actually one of the few components that we haven't seen any rumors about. So currently we find a 13 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization in the G2, so I'm pretty confident that we'll find a 16 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization again that's also capable of recording at 4K. So that's just my guess. Again, we haven't really seen any rumors about the camera, but I think a 16 megapixel camera with 4K recording capabilities sounds very realistic for the new flagship device. Now it also seems like LG will incorporate one of the revolutionary features, and that's a fingerprint reader on the back. Now this is likely to work the same way as on the HTC One Max, which isn't really the best implementation, so it seems like you have to swipe your finger across the back, which is kind of difficult if you don't see where you have to swipe. And so I'm not quite sure how well this will work. I think Apple with the iPhone 5S definitely has the best implementation of a fingerprint reader. But we'll have to wait and see. At least on the HTC One Max it doesn't really seem like a good implementation, so maybe LG can come up with a better solution. But now, before we wrap up this video, let's actually talk about the release date of the G3, and all reports seem to indicate that we'll already get it at Mobile World Congress 2014 in Barcelona. That will actually already happen next month in February of 2014. So the G2 isn't really on the market for that long, but it seems like LG really wants to announce the device already at Mobile World Congress, especially also because we'll likely see the Galaxy S5 then. So if we really see the LG G3 and the Galaxy S5 at Mobile World Congress next month, this would be absolutely insane, and I personally can't wait because the G2 already is a fantastic phone, and I just can't wait to get my hands on the G3. So to wrap up this video, I think we can be very excited about the G3, the WQHD 5.5-inch display, even smaller bezels, a 16 megapixel camera, an Odin octa-core processor, just all sounds fantastic, and I personally can't wait. Again, I love my LG G2, especially also because of the battery life, so I definitely hope that LG will manage to maybe incorporate like a 3300 mAh battery. because the battery in the LG G2 is already fantastic, and just seems like LG is one of the few manufacturers that actually have their focus on the battery life, and I just hope that they'll improve on there and not just on the other specs. But again, I'm very excited. Let me know what you think about the G3. Now let's actually also keep in mind that LG was responsible for the Nexus 4 and Nexus 5. So maybe the LG G3 is what the next Nexus will be based on, maybe a Nexus 5.5 or the Nexus 6. I'm definitely excited to see the G3 next month at Mobile World Congress. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to like it as well as subscribe to the channel for many more tech videos. Also, I mentioned that I already did a video about the Samsung Galaxy S5 in a similar fashion. So if you want to check that out, again, the link is in the description below. Thanks again. See you next time.